Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Lassu, and I'm from Killam, Alberta. Many of you have seen me around the county or Battle River Implements where I work. I'm part of a committee working to positively impact mental health in Flagstaff County. This national initiative is called Empowering Minds. I would like to invite the founder, Ian Hill, to join me.
Well, hi, Aaron. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you, Ian?
I'm amazing. And you're looking good. I love your flat brims. They always look so sharp. They always look great, man.
Right on, right on. Yeah. What inspired you to first create Empowering Minds, Ian?
So, Empowering Minds is a national initiative that was birthed in Alberta to positively impact mental health, specifically in rural communities. As you are very well aware, Aaron, there's a lot of headwind to live in rural today in Canada. And unfortunately, the mental health indicators are not very positive in rural Alberta or rural Canada as a whole. 63% more likely are our rural friends to have mental health challenges in comparison to our suburban and urban friends. And so we knew that something had to be done to positively impact the mental health indicators and, most importantly, to reduce the amount of suicide that we have in these communities.
Right on. Yeah. Why do you think this program resonates so strongly in rural communities like ours?
I think we had to tap in to what I believe are two truisms of rural Alberta or rural Canada. One, there's a resiliency and a find a way, make a way attitude, a self reliance. And two, even after the pandemic, there's still a sense of neighbor. I summarize it by saying the people closest to the problem are best suited to solve their problem. And if we can meet people where they're at upstream early and have early intervention, then we can prevent downstream crisis. Taking those two truisms into account, we created this program to equip regular people. You don't have to be a therapist, regular people of what to look for, what to listen for, what to say, and what to do to help a person who might be in the midst of or at the beginning of a mental health challenge. That early intervention, helping them feel seen and heard, and then helping them move to professional support. That's the key is early intervention upstream. Well, small town people know how to be neighborly and they know how to be self-reliant. And that's what we're tapping to in this program.
In a small town like Killam, where I'm at, or our whole county that is a very small, tight knit community, many of us know each other, but we know each other from the rink. We know each other from the ball diamonds. We know each other from the co op grocery store. We went to school together. We're now coaching each other's kids as we grow up. How does empowering minds build on relationships from these everyday situations like this?
So when I say people closest to the problem are best suited to solve their problem, from the buddy who hangs out with the other gentleman at the rink as they watch their kids play, or the farmer who knows the other farmer, or two guys that work together on the patch. They know each other. They're able to see the different patterns and changes in those patterns of behavior. They're able to hear words of despair or hopelessness. I know that Killam, Hardisty, and Flagstaff County is a special place. I've been to some 700 Canadian communities from coast to coast. Flagstaff County is special. And when we tap into that understanding of each other, that tight knit opportunity, that closeness that we have, proximity that we have, and really focus on what people are experiencing, what people are saying, that can act like an indicator on a dashboard that says somebody's having a challenge and now let me intervene. And Aaron, the problem always is that stumbling block. I don't know what to say. And that's the beauty of this program. You don't have to say much. In fact, we encourage 80% listening and 20% talking. We don't need to bring solutions. We just need to make sure the person feels seen and heard. That's the most important piece that when someone's facing a challenge, they feel seen and heard. And then we can help move them to either crisis support or long term support through counseling and the like. And this is how regular people can step in the breach and support one another.
Okay, so are there tools or what kind of resources are there for an average guy like me, not a professional, that I can be part of a solution or help somebody that I think might be in trouble?
And I think you hit on it right there. How can we equip regular people and then unleash regular people to take on this challenge throughout our community? One, as I said, you don't have to be a therapist. Two, the main skill you got to have is the ability to look and see and listen to someone else. So the first tool is taking into consideration that people are creatures of habit. People's behavior is patterned. That's why the algorithm in a phone works and can track you for a week, and then next Tuesday can predict what you're going to do, because we're just creatures of habit. When we see somebody change those patterns of behavior, it's like I said earlier, an indicator on that screen, on that dashboard that says, wow, something's going on. When we combine that with what they're saying, listening, yeah, you know what? The world would be better if I wasn't here, or it's never going to get any better. Why do I even try? That combined with changes in the pattern of behavior, someone that's usually on time showing up late 4 or 5 days in a row, somebody selling a prized possession, somebody dipping off social media, somebody doing things that would be completely out of character, combined with those words of hopelessness. I'm not saying they're on the precipice of a decision they can't come back from, but I am saying something's going on. Let's catch it upstream. Let's intervene. Let's ask some open ended questions, and then let's just listen. And I think that's the biggest key. 80% listening, 20% talking, letting them express themselves, and us just making sure they feel seen and heard and affirmed. All studies show that when we feel connected to someone else, we're less likely to make a choice we can't come back from.
Okay. In part of the learning I'm doing in this committee, we there's a lot of verbiage around first identifier. Can you explain to me what a first identifier is, just so I have a better understanding?
So that's what we're training. First identifiers. This is the person who's in close proximity to someone else, the people that work two cubicles apart, the bartender, the chartered accountant, the banker, the personal trainer, the nail tech, the hairstylist, people that intimately see other people, or the family member. These are people who are proximate, they're close, they know these other people. So they are potentially first identifiers, people that can notice the changes of behavior and language early, upstream. So a first identifier is simply a person closest to the problem or the potential problem who can see and hear it, and then we equip them to do something about it. And that's really the key. Imagine if on the 4th and 5th of November in Hardisty and Killam, we trained 500 people across the county to know what to look for and what to listen for, what to say and what to do. We would immediately reduce the challenges that we're facing in mental health, because there would be regular people who have basic equipment to be able to step in the breach and help move that person to professional support and assistance.
Okay, so with the events that are going to happen in the county on the 4th and 5th of November in Hardisty and Killam, will we be given some tools as a first identifier to learn how to do that, and then also take the next step in talking to somebody else, or how does that step look?
So we're going to have these great events. Supper is provided. We thank our FFCS. So first, we're going to start with a community supper at these events. Why? Because we're going to build a sense and a feeling of community. Then we're going to equip people with first the tools for self-care. The flight attendant, when we get on a WestJet flight or an Air Canada flight, always says to us, put on your mask first. So we're going to talk about some best practices of self-care that are easily accessible and easily implemented in our personal lives. That's why this is called empowering minds, Aaron. We're empowering people to take ownership of their mental health. So first, our own self-care. And then we'll move into, as you rightly said, we'll move into the first identifier training. So we'll have real tools and real equipment to see and hear and what to say and do. But it doesn't end there. After we get completed, after we give out the certificates for the training, after we take the team picture of all of us that are involved, then we're going to support all of the participants for 30 days after through emails, through video, and through a learning portal that will provide them support and additional information for the 30 days after the training to ensure that the training is solidified and takes hold. And then that portal stays in Flagstaff County as a resource for people to continue to be trained and educated so that we're prepared at a moment's notice to be able to take what we learned and actually put it into practice. So it's all of that learning, not just the event, but the 30 days after, and then that learning portal staying in the community for months and years to come to be a support and a resource to all of us in Flagstaff County.
Okay, right on. What do you hope the impact of Empowering Minds will be here in Flagstaff County?
Save lives. Save lives. A friend of mine told me a story. He was at um, someone's house that they had been longtime friends. And the gentleman, my friend, was talking to a tractor salesman. And that tractor salesman and he were talking about empowering minds. And he said to my friend, you know, I've got 3 tractors on my lot right now from 3 different families, from 3 farmers that succumbed to suicide. When he was telling me that story, we both agreed no more empty tractor seats. Now, that's metaphoric, but we know that farmers and those in agriculture, that's the #1 sector to succumb to suicide. #2, those involved in the resource economy, the patch, timber, could be mining. That's #2. And then #3 is construction. So, no more empty tractor seats means no more rural suicide. This is something we can take on. We who become first identifiers. First, we learn the tools of our own self care to mitigate the risk of burnout, which leads to demoralization, which leads to depression, but all of which are the gateway to a choice we never come back from. And then, secondly, we equip ourselves to support our neighbor. We know how to do that in rural Alberta. We're self reliant and we still understand the concept of neighbor. These are things that we can build on. So I have no doubt that Flagstaff County can be a beacon of hope to the rest of the province of how a community can come together and take on this mental health challenge within the community.
Interesting. Um, how can attending one of these sessions make a lasting difference for a partner, a parent, a farmer, or a small business owner?
Well, I think first the self care component. I personally have been affected by mental health challenges. I have a mental health challenge. And if not properly managed, I will drive my life in a ditch. And tragically, a number of years ago, I did. But I realized as I did all the research and did all the learning and talked to all the experts that if I had just had an adequate self care plan that I had designed through input from professionals for myself, I could have avoided that. So the first thing is that we're better for others by being better for ourselves. Having a solid self care plan, which we will teach and we will reinforce during that 30 days. So that's the #1 way that we can help others, right? Make sure that we are taking care of ourselves first, putting on our mask first, if you will. And then, secondly, being being equipped to be able to say to you, Aaron, I know you've been going through a rough patch. How you holding up, buddy? Just that. Just somebody seeing your challenge, someone noticing so that you don't feel isolated and alone. One of the advantages of living in a small community should be that we're all there for each other.
Mhm.
If tragically you were going through um, a severe illness, and everybody in Killam found out, there would be people volunteering to help your wife by making dinner and alternating who was making dinner every night. We'd all be rallying around you to see who was taking your kid to this sport or to that dance or whatever. We would be trading off. We would come around your family. There would be a GoFundMe page set up for you. We need to take the same approach around mental health. If you're going through a rough patch, if you're going through a tough time, we all come around you. And then we help you navigate back to solid footing and resiliency. We can do that. We know how to do it in other situations. Now we just need to do that in this situation called mental health.
Yeah. For someone that would be on the fence about joining and coming to the events on November 4th and 5th, why should they come out? What would your reason for them to come?
Well, first, I think just look at the data. All studies show that there's significant headwind to live in rural. It's just a given. We know that. From shopping to resources, just to normal living. Well, taking that into consideration, we should have an immunity plan when it comes to our mental health. So, part of that plan is equipping ourselves, and a part of that is equipping each other to support one another. I think, secondarily, I think there's a certain sense of esteem, a certain sense of accomplishment, a certain sense of pride. Regular community members coming together to take on a challenge that seemingly seems like we can't take on, and yet we can. Empowering you, empowering your mind, empowering the community. Aaron, a number of years ago, I was involved in a project in Flagstaff County in Killam, another national initiative that I'd launched called Let Them Be Kids. Some of your viewers may remember we built a playground,
Yeah.
Let Them Be Kids playground.
Yeah,
And
the
I
Heritage Park
saw, that's right, I saw hundreds and hundreds of Flagstaff community members rally to build that playground, man. It was amazing. You know what? This is more important than that playground. So it's that same kind of energy. You weren't waiting for someone else to build you a playground. You weren't waiting for somebody in Edmonton or Ottawa to show up for you. You showed up. You got yourself equipped. You built that playground. And it was a testament to regular citizens in rural communities and what they can do. That's the same with this. Let's all come together. Let's get equipped. Let's build a self care plan for ourselves. And let's be ready to support someone else when they're having a mental health challenge. And most importantly, let's catch it upstream before it becomes a crisis. And in doing so, we will have a well county, well human beings. That's what we're ultimately creating.
All right. What's one message you want people in Flagstaff County to remember about Empowering Minds?
That you can do this. You can build a self care plan. You can be equipped to support one another. And if you are struggling with a mental health challenge, there are resources, there are people, there are mechanisms, there are programs to support you because we love you. If you happen to be listening to this right now and this is resonating with you, you have a real challenge, there's a number that you can call and there's somebody available for you. It's a toll free number that you can call in Canada. It's 988. It's the suicide lifeline, 988, 988, 988. If you're not in crisis, but you know that there's a challenge and you just have been reluctant to get help, call that FFCS number. Call it. There's people on the other end ready to help you. Your fellow citizens in Flagstaff County. You know what, Aaron? I know what it feels like to be isolated and alone. That's not happening anymore. Certainly not in a county like Flagstaff where we care and love and support one another. So, this is a legacy opportunity. This is a moment in time where we can all step forward and take on a real challenge and create real solutions.
All right. So if people do want to register, we do have a QR code up in the corner of the screen. Is that the best way to register?
Yep, they can register at that QR code, or if we could throw that phone number back. If they want just more information, like what is this all about? I'm intrigued. Then just call the good people there at FFCS, and they will definitely give you all the information that you need, from the curriculum to other information that can help you understand exactly what's going to happen. But come on out. The supper is free. And, we have to acknowledge, Aaron, FFCS, we have to acknowledge the county who are putting this on. We have to acknowledge the other sponsors and your other committee members. And I want to give a shout out to two special ladies, Stacy and Jenna Lee. Stacy with FFCS and Jenna Lee with Economic Development. They've been on the tip of the spear of making this happen. We've been talking about coming to Flagstaff County for over a year. And I know the committee, you of which are part of the committee, have been working really, really hard to get these events put together. They're going to be awesome, awesome events. So hit the QR code at the top of the screen or that phone number that was on earlier, and they'll get you all the information.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else you'd like to add, Ian?
Just that this is an opportunity for the good people of Flagstaff County to be a beacon of hope to the rest of Alberta. I've been from top to bottom, from side to side from Alberta, from Fort Chip to Crow's Nest Pass. And here's what I know about Alberta. Alberta, there's a rugged individualism and there's a find a way, make a way attitude. There's something special in the DNA of Albertans. We carved out of the frozen tundra one of the greatest places to live in the world. We can take on this challenge in rural Alberta, and I know it can start in Flagstaff County.
Perfect. Right on. Well, I want to say thank you for your time. We're very excited about this initiative. We would like to get as many people out as possible. So, again, if you are interested in coming, please scan the QR code up in the corner or give that phone number a call to talk to the people at FFCS, and they will get you all the information. Thanks again, Ian. Again, those dates are November 4th in Hardisty, November 5th in Killam. Please come out, and we will see you November 4th and 5th.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.